Hello, this is RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Hey guys, so today we are bringing you the full review for the LG G8. Now, this phone has been out for a little while now, and we got to test it out, review it over the past couple months, and it really was a great secondary device. As a daily driver, it was pretty awesome. It didn't give me anything that I really missed, because it has my wireless charging, it has the wide angle rear camera, has a wide angle front camera, and overall it was just an overall really good to use phone. However, there are obviously some pros and cons to this, and the reason why I feel this phone hasn't sold as much, so let's get into those. Now, first of all, the build quality on this device is really solid. It just looks good. I love that it has a completely flat back, so that's really nice for it. It is slippery, I will say, and overall, I think that the quality itself, though, is good grip to it. The extra button does have the Google Assistant, so you do have some really nice parts about it. You also have a really amazing display on this device. So when bringing up really high-end looking quality with HDR content, it just looks awesome, and the screen is really good. It's a POLED display, and it really stands out in its look and feel and design. So really great looking display, and definitely one I think you would enjoy. Overall, with the unlocking capability as well, you'd really get some really nice functions. So one, you still have the traditional fingerprint on the back, so really quick and easy to unlock. With that, you don't have any kind of messy fingerprint scanner like the S10 really kind of suffered from, and that the OnePlus got correct. You also have Face Unlock, which is more secure on this phone, so you can really easily just unlock it, very simple and very easily. I do love that the Face Unlock on this phone is really secure, and I like that it just automatically unlocks and takes you right to the main screen instead of unlocking and you still having to swipe or wait around. So really good unlocking capabilities. With the rear camera too, it takes some awesome, really great photos. I think this is really a camera for manual users and photographers, because it really just brings up exactly what you see. So these aren't saturated photos, they really are just kind of what you see is what you're getting for the most part with the rear camera, and does a great job whether it be the wide angle camera or the regular camera. Honestly, the camera performance on the rear camera is really solid, and I don't think anyone would be upset with any of the photos taken with this phone for the rear camera. Then we have pretty much the best headphone jack in the industry. This headphone jack is really good, it's solid. If you want to connect any pair of headphones to it, you're gonna get better audio quality out of this smartphone than any other phone of 2019, except maybe the next LG phone. It really is just that good, and overall, when you want audio quality through a headphone jack, this is the best. Now, what about those cons, and why have people, I feel, really not gotten this phone? So let's get to the first part, is the speaker quality. Speaker quality on this phone really isn't up to par as the current flagships are. All of the current flagships that I've tested this year are a better audio quality than it. Overall, this speaker just isn't as good.
Cause you got what it takes, baby. You know you're better than all of them. You're my number one girl. You got everything I need. I know we're meant to be, so let's go fulfill prophecy. I'll be your hero, baby, if you let me. I promise I will be there for you in your time of waiting.
And that was at full blast with the audio completely up and it on a surface without a case. So this is the best quality you can get with this speaker, and it really is lackluster. It's probably, again, the worst part of the phone, I would say, overall, just because of comparing it to every other flagship on the market. I have always seen better ones. It was a misstep by LG this time, especially because the older phones had better audio quality. I think that's something they definitely need to work on for the second half of the year phone that they end up coming out with. Now, earlier you noticed I kept saying it's great photo quality with the rear camera. Well, the front camera, although it's actually a really wide one, which I really do love and appreciate, I just feel that the depth is good, but it tends to overexpose a little bit. It's just a little overexposed in most of the shots that I've taken, and it just doesn't have the same quality, again, for the overexposure and kind of making everything a little too soft. Realistic colors, I will give it that, just realistic colors in comparison to a Samsung or an iPhone. It was a lot more realistic looking in terms of the colors and the tones, but just a little overexposed at times in comparison to those on average. So I think the selfies will be good and again, realistic, but if you have a bright light source in there, it's gonna get overexposed. Then we have the battery life. Overall, battery life on this phone is average. And I think that's really LG's fault because of the fact that it could have had a bigger battery. If it would have had a bigger battery, I think it would have been a much better overall device. And I think a lot of more people could have gravitated towards it. But again, when we're gonna compare it to other devices, this has a smaller battery compared to other smartphones. And I think LG really should lean in to having maybe possibly the biggest battery on their smartphones as a caveat on why you should buy an LG smartphone over other smartphones. I think that would really help them. And again, every smartphone manufacturer needs something as a why get me instead. And the battery, I think, really could be a big influence on it. So then we get to the biggest reason I think why a lot of people did not buy the smartphone, and that is because of the price point. You see, for this phone and its price, you really have to compare what else is out there on the market. At a standard, this phone is $850. I feel that that is honestly too much for this smartphone, and it should have been priced lower, especially when competing with other smartphones. Now, if we just go on Amazon and buy just a regular phone from Amazon, then we're getting it for a much cheaper price with, say, the OnePlus 7 Pro, which is going to have the same kind of memory and RAM, but you can also get more if you get it through a carrier, which we'll go over in a second. For Verizon, this phone is still $840 and has not dropped in price, doesn't have any sale whatsoever. For T-Mobile, this phone is actually $620. Now that is a good price. That is undercutting the OnePlus 7 Pro at T-Mobile and at a really affordable price. This phone for T-Mobile is one of the best phones you can get for that price range. If you're looking for the $600 price range, this is one you should definitely consider buying. Then we move to the real heavy deal makers because the phone hasn't sold as well. Sprint is selling this phone for an equivalent of $360 basically, because you're only paying 15 bucks a month. That is an amazing deal for it. And because it really hasn't done well at AT&T, it is now only $5 a month, which would be the equivalent of about $160. So really good deals with those two manufacturers. And if you are in the market again for a phone in that price range, then if you are on Sprint and AT&T, this is definitely a phone to get right now comparing to every other phone on the market. However, really at $360, $150, it overall is going to be something that you really want to consider what else is out there. I think LG, again, priced this phone a little too expensive for what we got in comparison to other smartphones. And I think this has hurt LG for the past couple of years with the rise of the Pixel and the OnePlus. This is a duopoly where iPhones and Samsung are what most people buy. It's what most of you always want to see content on. It's really just those two. The rising stars have been OnePlus and Pixel, and LG has really taken the hit because of it. Overall, I think LG has a really solid foundation, solid products, but they really have to get rid of bug fixes. And I think if they don't price on a lower tier, they need to give more. What does this phone have that other phones don't? Yes, it has the air gestures, which I never could get to really work. So what else does it have that interests me? I love that out of the OnePlus, this has wireless charging over it. It's one thing I really missed when I left this phone for the OnePlus. But overall, when the OnePlus had faster memory, bigger storage, and a bigger battery, that made me think that this phone was priced a little too high. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I would recommend the LG G8 at the right price. I think $600 and under, it's a phone you should definitely consider. And a solid buy, definitely, by all means. There is nothing really bad about it. There's just something really wow about it. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you as always for watching. This has been RICKY, the YouTube Tech Guy. Thank you for watching our video. If you liked it, why don't you go ahead and subscribe up there. Make sure you follow us on social media right here. And of course, check out our latest video up there. And right down here, you're going to find the perfect video for you. Or at least that's what YouTube tells me. Thanks again.